to go over this giant place that I built. As you might have already seen in previews, which I will add in to the beginning of the video later. Though the previews... Well, my cat is like attacking the wall. What do you see? There's not like a bug on the wall or anything. He's just... he like ran in and swatted at the wall and then ran away. The previews usually don't really do build justice though. That's why I don't like still images. I mean, some things look good in still images. Maybe I'm just terrible at building things, but like, I don't know. I feel like it doesn't capture it. It doesn't look good in a still image. You have to kind of see the 3D space. It's all about it's all about the 3D space. But anyway, as you might have seen in the previews, this is, it's just a giant lot. There's so much detail. This is probably going to be like an hour-long video or more just to go over it all. But basically it's like a shopping center on top, and then the bottom is an underground apartment complex. Like a tiered underground apartment complex with a courtyard in the middle. I don't know, you'll see whenever it decides to load. Now here's my boy, Bogos Binted, who I just needed someone to move in. So I really wish, is there a way to change lighting in build mode? Other than, you have to go to live mode, like, you know, to do like, set color and intensity. Like, I wish you could do that in build mode. Sorry, now my cat is attacking a piece of cardboard. You probably can't hear it, but just in case. So it's like I have to eventually move someone in with the explicit purpose of just having somebody who can actually change the lights. So this is one of the parts of downtown of my magic city or whatever that I'm making, that I'm working on. And it looks like a normal shopping center from the outside and is mostly a normal, I mean, it's kind of a weird layout. I kind of wanted to make it seem like it was like old buildings that have been remodeled and had parts added to them and added to them and added to them over time. So the layout makes no sense and is ridiculous and weird. But that's the point, is that it's kind of just things built on top of things, built on top of other things. And so this is the first part that I'll go over. I guess you can skip to the second part if you want to, which will be the underground apartments. But see, it just looks like, oh, here's like a crappy old series of buildings with like restaurants or something probably in the top. You can see in here, there's a little walkway, a little place where there's also businesses. But then this building kind of just looks like it's part of the normal building, except for the intense security cameras around it, I think kind of give away that it's something else. But this kind of looks like it's just part of the urban sprawl until you actually go inside, and then you see there's this it's a tiered, I guess? See, this is the outside part that looks down on the courtyard. So there's this whole series of apartments. It's an underground apartment building with a big courtyard in the middle, and a bunch of different layers of apartments. And so basically you kind of just walk up and down, you know, the stairs, these walkways to get to your layered underground apartments. And they have these fake places with fake grass and fake plants and really, really bright lighting and sometimes mirrors in the back to make them look bigger. So that like when you look through your window in your underground apartment, you see like, oh look, it's grass, it's plants, it's a blue sky, it's just like being outside. Except it's not. But they have a fake outdoors. And even though you cannot do this in The Sims, I don't think there's any way to make it work. I imagine, it's my headcanon, that they change the lighting at night so it looks more like night outside. Like maybe these walls, if we could actually do something like this in The Sims, maybe these walls are actually like LED screen panels or something that project an image of outside. And so at nighttime it projects into a night sky, and during the daytime it's a daytime sky. And basically the thing for the apartment building is that you see these blank spaces. Basically there's a space and you rent it out, but you can modify it however you want to. Like there are some people, see like this person has a window and things like that on the outside because they run a cafe out of their apartment. So like there are some things you can't change. You cannot change the main door, and you cannot change this light that's outside, and you can't take away these are the things that mark what apartment it is. You can't take away those things, but you can add windows to your walls. You can paint the inside of the apartment. You can change the inside of the apartment. They're basically just spaces that people rent out, but they're all very small because I like building within a small space. So but we'll go over the underground apartment later. The main thing is the shops on top, which is what I'm going to go over first. This whole, like, shopping center, businesses and stuff like that. And I guess it would make sense to start on the ground floor and go up. Oh yeah, wait, but you should see it at night, too. Because it's kind of cool at night. All the lights and stuff. Except for this is weird. The lighting in The Sims sometimes... It's like one wall will be insanely bright, and and other things are like, just because there's a light here, this is like glowing, and then everything else is not very well lit at all. But here's the place at night, which again, is not super impressive. I wish we had bigger lots. Like, imagine this, but like huge, like 80 by 80 lot, and there's just so many little places. It would be cool to realistically make a little, and you can see some of these other places that I built downtown, the crazy motel, which I think, is this the place that has a secret underground? Yeah, there's I think underneath the motel there's a secret underground place for a magic cult, I think. I don't really remember, I haven't built on this lot in a long time. The whole downtown of this city that I'm building, the world that I'm creating is a little bit weird. But this is just one part of it, hopefully one day I'll go over all of it. But here's what it looks like at night with the lights. Wow, pretty lights. Love lights. It's supposed to be, you know, those cool cityscapes with a bunch of neon lights and like fancy and like whatever, and it looks super futuristic. It's supposed to be kind of like that, but bad. Like if instead of a super cyber futuristic cool glass panel building, you had dingy, crappy, old brick warehouses from, like, 1850, and they've been built up over the past hundreds of years, and transformed into many different places, and they suck, and they're not taken care of. But, like, someone was like, we should put neon signs on it to make it look cool. To make it, you know, let's revitalize our city. Let's try and make it look cool. And it's like not actually the coolness that they're going for. It just looks really silly. But they're trying. They're making an effort. They're trying, you know, like, they're trying to make it look hip and cool, even though it's not. They have big city aspirations, but in a very small town. The first place I'll go over, I guess, is like the least interesting. This section, which is basically just like a trash dump, kind of. A fenced off place where there's like an old truck with graffiti on it, and a van, and some gnarled roots from some tree, and a billboard in the middle, planks, miscellaneous tools that I placed, and some soda cans, and this I think is a fire hydrant, but like in a pile of dirt. I basically just went through, and fish bones, I don't know. So that doesn't take very long to go over. It basically is, what you see is what you get. It's a trash dump kind of area. You know, there's like this thing to say, don't go back here, it's trash dump. This also connects to behind the businesses. So I know this looks like a stationary fence, but I imagine that it opens. And like the people who own these businesses have the key to it. And so you can go behind here. Because see, there's kind of a little pathway behind all the buildings. And that is where, these are the mailboxes for the businesses. And then this is the trash place for the businesses. So there is some traffic back here. The business owners have the keys or whatever to be able to get back here so they can dump their trash and check their mail. But overall, this connection is nothing but just a place where people dump things. Again, it's kind of like I wish I could have a bunch of stuff here. It would look so nice if I could build a building, because like ideally this would be this weird little section sandwiched in between other buildings, so there would be like a whole portion of buildings here too, and this would just be kind of like how alleyways are sometimes with like dumpsters. This would just be equivalent to like a little alleyway. But because of The Sims 4 not letting us place down our own stupid lots, it just looks kind of weird that it's out in the middle of nowhere. But anyway, and then you have the yard. I'm gonna go like around this way, so ending on the businesses last. You have kind of just a little yard section. This is the food cart or something. I've never actually played with these in game, so I don't actually know how they work. I don't know if it's positioned the right way. It might open on this side, and then that would be weird. I'm assuming because the sign is facing this way, it opens this way, so it would be open to the street, but I've never seen them, so I don't know. And you have these signs. These are custom content. Almost everything that I use is custom content, because, like, I don't have the money to buy all these packs. I think people can make pretty cool things if they have all the packs available, but if you only have a few, your clutter, that's what it is. To make a space look realistic, you need clutter, and the base game and stuff does not have a lot of good clutter. Even if you do the show live edit objects, it's just not much clutter, so usually I have a million custom content things and they're all clutter. I rarely download custom content furniture or anything. It's just 90% of it is just extra clutter and life details and stuff. This is the like food cart thing that people can stop by, you know, when they're walking down the busy sidewalk looking for something to do, to go shopping. And then this is the entrance to the mail room kind of thing for the people who live in the underground apartments. They have like a community board to say what's going on recently, and lockers they can rent out for mail, and also mailboxes. They've got some mailboxes. They have mailboxes and stuff, so this is the place the people in the apartment go in to get their mail. And then this is the entrance to the apartment, which we will revisit later, and an advertisement. And now the first business that you get to is a clothing store. Now The Sims 4 does not have good clothing store options. Maybe, isn't there like a working pack? A pack that's about shops or something? Do they have that, an expansion pack about shops yet? At least in the games I have, I think I only have 3 expansion packs, or maybe 2. Not a lot of good shop things, so this looks kind of funky. It's my best attempt at a store. Whoopsie doopsie. It's supposed to be a fancy boutique as well. You can tell because the walls are very fancy, and it's got plants line the walls. So you have the big open windows and a very fancy rug and very fancy plants when you walk in, and the signs. I love these custom content little signs. It makes things look more realistic. Little signs on the windows. I like that. You have some things in the window, basically just, this is custom content, but everything else I kind of tried to just use the stuff in the game. So there's little racks of clothes, racks of shoes, even though they all look the same. Towels, which I'm pretending are maybe folded shirts or something. A fancy mirror, because you have to check yourself in only the fanciest mirror. And then some, I guess they're selling like pillows and fabric and like, I don't know, some things like that, and a necklace. Again, I can't really do a shop layout. And backpacks, there's tables full of backpacks, and folded clothes, and more clothes, and a little funky little mannequin thing. And this is where you wait in line for the bathroom. And then here's the bathroom, which is just a toilet and a mirror. I imagine that they would have like hand sanitizer somewhere here. Like, they don't have enough space for a sink. That's one thing about this whole place. All of the shops and the apartments in this entire lot are generally pretty crowded. So a lot of it is like using a small space well challenge or something. I would say that 90% of the places here are actually unplayable though. This is a lot of the lots that I make are just for aesthetics. Like, they're just supposed to be, they're just environments that look cool. But if you actually tried to play them with a sim, I don't think it would work out very well, because there's clutter blocking everything, there's furniture blocking everything, they would not be able to actually get in the beds or, you know, use the bathrooms or whatever. But, so they don't have enough room for a sink, so they would just have, like, maybe, if I had something that looked like this, I'd put it here, like a little thing on the wall with maybe some hand sanitizer, and they just tell everybody, like, use the hand sanitizer then. Use the cash register. This I imagine as, like, clothes that have been returned. Like, or not returned, but, you know, that people tried on and didn't want, so they're kind of stored back here. And then these are the dressing rooms. There's 3 dressing rooms with little curtains and 2 walls of mirrors. And you can see someone here was trying things on. They've hung some stuff up. So that's the boutique, kind of. It doesn't really, doesn't look like a store. But anyway, this is the boutique. I keep wanting to say boutique. That's not what it's... This is the boutique. And then over here, there's some posters and stuff on the wall, and a trash can, and 2 vending machines. That's what they're called. And then this, right beside it, is this little cafe, which I think the way that it's laid out is weird. And I imagine that it used to be something else, and someone has just recently bought it. It's a cafe, bakery type place. And you see this person enters their business through this back way. So this is a bakery slash cafe kind of place. But see how like, well, but see like the walls are so tall and they're made of like brick, and that doesn't really scream cafe to me. So I think it's probably one of the cases where like this used to be something else. It was an entirely different business and this person bought it and they've tried their best to kind of make it sort of the layout of a little cafe, but it's not really working very well, but it's kind of. They're trying their best to keep the aesthetic, but it's a little bit off. I think people can tell that it was not originally built to be a cafe. There's all their baked goods they have on display. Again, I don't really have any display shelves. I don't have any good. This is the best item I could find that looks like you're displaying something, and it doesn't really. This is not how cupcakes and stuff would be laid out in real life, but, you know, whatever. And they have they have some candles, decorative candles, and stuff that shows that they're baking. And there's a coffee and a dish for, I don't think actually, they don't sell eggs. I don't know why that's there. I think I accidentally put that down. And here's like a tip jar for them, not a tip jar, a little tipping, you want to leave a tip, leave it here in this dish. And they just have, you know, their little kitchen space. And this seating, the indoor seating, which is pretty decent. It's not bad. It's got an okay, got a quaint little vibe to it and all that. So, but this is the door that you actually walk in. You first come in here. And then this is outdoor seating, which is kind of nice if you only look this way. Like you can kind of see the rest of the town and some flowers and blah blah blah. But then like if you look back this way, you see a bunch of like dirty walls and like old posters and graffiti and stuff. But they're making the best out of whatever they can. This is their little outdoor seating area, which is supposed to be like quaint and nice. So this is the little cafe, the quaint little cafe. And then from here, you can go up these stairs. See this? This is like a sign and it points upwards saying like this business is up here. And they also say don't poo-poo on the ground. for dogs, not for people. I mean, people shouldn't do it either. From there, this is where the layout gets bizarre. And is what I was talking about, where it's like, obviously this grouping of buildings has been added onto and changed and used to be a bunch of other things because the layout makes no sense. So you go up these stairs, and then there's this little walkway. You come to the first section of public space, which is kind of just this outdoor area with a little bit of seating, and you can see someone's been drinking something, and a bench, and some newspapers, and advertisements, and magazines, and stuff. And this is the public bathroom, which looks a little bit messed up. There's a broken mirror, and a weird little fan, and just a toilet with a creepy light. And then this is an ice cream shop, which, has little bars on the window, but it's supposed to look very cutesy. It's like a self-serve place, even though I know these scoops make it seem like someone has to scoop it for you. I'm saying it's self-serve. See, like this, look how bright this wall is. Why? Because of the window next to it? Like, there's just one light right here. There's no other lights. There's just one light, but this wall is like glowing. There's a little self-serve ice cream place, and they also do cotton candy for some reason. I don't know. It's like a place you take your kids to. So you can get your ice cream, you can get your cone, your toppings. These are supposed to be ice cream bowls, even though they're not. I think they're custom content bowls of spices. Pretend they're little bowls with ice cream in them. And here's sprinkles and stuff you can put on them, and a slushy machine, and something else, some other type of machine, a smoothie machine, I don't know. And then back here behind the counter you have the weight thing, because they usually weigh, like, you know, in frozen yogurt shops they weigh it and stuff. Phone, and a payment calculator thing, and a little tip dish. And then this is the cutesy TV that because the person who works here just has to sit here all day, basically, because it's self-serve. So unless someone wants whatever that's called, cotton candy. Unless someone wants cotton candy, they really don't have to do anything. All they do is just sit there and weigh things all day, so they have a little TV they can watch. This is their backpack they took into work with them. And I think this worked out okay. Once I found the custom content, I was trying to make an ice cream shop with nothing even remotely ice cream related. And it just was not working. But now I think after downloading some custom content, it looks okay. It's still not really how it would actually look, but you know. Oh, and they have a little thing in here to keep it cool. Because you gotta keep it cold so the ice cream doesn't melt. This is one of the main restaurants advertised. Now they have their seating over here. Again, the layout is very weird. But this is where you pick up your food. So they have like bar and seating over across the way. And then here is only where their kitchen is. You can come in here. It's like a simplistic, modern brick and marble floor with a little cash register and menus and some sort of little notice and some wine and fancy stuff so they look fancy. And then back here is just a very, very plain, very generic, clean looking kitchen where the people can cook. And so you order your food and pick up your food here, your actual food. And then, this is a segue into the next section, you would take your food across to here, which is where the actual restaurant's seating is. It's the same place. It's owned by the same place. It's operated by them, but like they don't have enough room to have their restaurant and their seating in the same place. You can come here to eat your food, or you don't even have to go, you don't even have to get food. You can just be like, I'm not feeling a steak tonight, I just want alcohol, and you can go and sit here and have like a, whatever the, I don't know, I don't drink. What, a martini? What do people drink? what do people get? Even though this is not actually a gate, this is just a random fence. Same with this. This is not actually, again, nothing that I build is practical. This is not something a sim could actually access, I'm pretty sure, but just pretend. I just don't have the right items to make what I'm envisioning in my head, so just pretend. Just pretend it's a gate that opens. And this place looks a lot better at night, because now it's like, whoa, wow, purple lights, very cool, very, you have like a view of the city, or at least, it's not really a city, a view of the tiny little donkey town city, where it's a small town, but they're trying to pretend they're a big city. You have a view of the moldy old hotel, wow, and the bus stop, and the diner. All these huge big city things. It's basically just a cool seating area with neon light. It's like the fanciest place in the entire small town. Everybody who's anybody in this small town of less than 10,000 people comes here. They're to hang out in this sleek bar lounge restaurant thing. You can see there's some people are having drinks. Someone's having a grilled cheese sandwich or something. Someone's phone has been sat on the table. If you hear a weird drilling, grinding noise or something in the background. I don't know if it picks up on the microphone, but like some type of work is going on in one of these apartments or something. I don't know. This is the behind the counter bar area where they have, I guess, just a bunch of drinks and the cash register and a giant block of ice, which I guess maybe they carve into this to make little shapes of ice. They'll like break off a chunk of it and carve it into the shape of a heart or something. Yeah, I don't know. Man, that's getting louder. What are you doing? Can you not grind our apartment right now? I'm trying to make a video. But anyway, and so that's that section. Now this is special. And see, this is part of what I mean about the weird layout, because this is how you get into this place, but it is also kind of part of a walkway. So this is the continuation. I cannot pay attention with this grinding noise. I have like sensory things where too many noises at one time is overwhelming for my brain. I cannot pay attention to my own voice. And see, actually, maybe I could do something like, yeah, something like this makes it look a little bit more cohesive. So this is, even though this is where the weird, oh my god. Go up these stairs, and then you choose to go this way, then you can get to these shops. And this one is a little seafood shop place. It's got the barnacle, that's not what that's called, these are not barnacles. It's got this little seafood theme thing and a seafood little crab. And the door is covered by this like glass panel thing that the people open just to make it look a little more cohesive, so there's not a random door there. So the people who own the shop kind of slide the glass panel somewhere every day. I'm not sure how it opens, but it opens. And it's just a very, very simple looking, I don't really know how to do like a beachy theme because I'm not really into, I don't like go to the beach. So sailboat walls, you have some open counter space cabinety things and a mini fridge. Most all these places have mini fridges because they're just too small. I mean, this is your whole business. You're running an entire shop out of a place this small, so it's kind of just like, I don't know. So they have a little mini fridge and like a knife, and you can see they're preparing something right now. They have a pan on the stove and they're working on it. And here's a little sink area and some pans, and they have a little window they can look out, which is good. They actually have a good view compared to some of these places. Calendars and stuff up on the walls, I guess like reminders to the employees. And then here's a bucket, I guess for like fish guts. And this is supposed to be, I'm saying this is like a fish boning tool. So they're like using it to break down the fish and stuff. And here's a basket of fresh fish from the port or something. I don't know what the town layout is. And this is the cash register, and they have a neon palm tree just to make things fun. And then this is a little counter where they sit things. Like, this is the counter where they give people stuff. So people will come to the window and order things, and I guess this is where they sit things. So like one employee would sit here and do the cash register and the orders, and the other one would kind of be back here doing the cooking and stuff. So this is the little seafood restaurant, and then across from there is an even smaller cafe. Even though there's a cafe bakery downstairs, there's a different cafe that specializes in different things. It's not a bakery, it's just a coffee cafe type thing. And it's literally just this tiny space. You walk in here and here's some information about the menu, and they have these pre-made coffee beans you can buy, and a little tip thing, and a fridge with a bunch of pictures on the front of it and stuff, and this tiny little, they just have a coffee machine and another machine, and it's very simple, and that's all it is, and a little sink and a little place for cups, and this is their counter they prepare stuff on, and a stool. It's just one person running the whole place. They just sit on their stool and make coffees all day. Here's their phone, which they probably are on a lot because they're just alone in a tiny little cube all day. So that's that place. And then this is just kind of like a little, I don't know, it's just a little area where nothing else could really go that people can use as people can kind of hang out here. There's a vending machine and a weird crate that got left in the middle of nowhere. And you can just kind of stand here and be like, wow, look. It's the world. And then here is the stairs, which go up to the second level of or I guess it'd be the third level of the shopping place. And it's very plain looking, except for there's weird stuff in the corner. There's some pipes and a bike that somebody abandoned and some papers on the floor and paint cans. I mean, it's just like a generic, and like people can come hang out right here. You could be like, meet me in the stairwell of the weird shopping center whose layout doesn't make sense. And we'll exchange forbidden chocolate cake recipes or something, but yeah, this little balcony place has a bunch of flowers on it. So now we're going to the upstairs. You go up these stairs, and then this is an even weirder layout. So you go up the dirty looking stairs, and then you come out here. Whoa, my gosh. You come out here, and this is pretty nice looking. This little bench here, and a bunch of little shops. So this is a place that you can sit. Here's another seating place. People can just come hang out on this bench, and they can look down. They can look down into the apartment building courtyard, actually, from here. They can throw stuff over the railing at people in the apartment building courtyard. And the first business that you come across is this one little restaurant. It's kind of like tucked away in the corner, and they have lots and lots of plants and lots of ingredients. And this weird, I could not think of how to make a counter, so it's like these two things together. One of them is smaller. You see they have some cabinets and little spices and herbs and different ingredients and stuff, and a cool cactus, other things, and here's like a workstation, paper towels, some this is like a vent, I guess, because it's in any place that you're cooking, you probably need like ventilation or whatever. So it's just a fancy decorative vent, and then and this is the main cooking area, and you can see there are ingredients out because they're currently working on making something. And I would assume maybe this is 1 or 2 people working in the space, probably just owned by a single person. And here's their little card machine thing that they use to do payment and receipts. Some more ingredients out, and a little seat they can sit on when they need to rest, and a little sink in the corner. They have a nice little window, which I like. I like the idea of, because some of these places do not have windows, so it's like they're just trapped in a tiny little box. I like that at least they have a window they can look out at the park and stuff while they're cooking. It's always nice to have a little window. I really like plants. They've got plants everywhere. So this is that restaurant. It's like, I can't even get a good view of these places because I want to view them this way. but they're so small. All of the areas in this entire lot are so small, you can barely view them this way without running into something. Go, oh, ow, 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 ow. Then you go over here, and the next place you come across is a tarot card reader little shop place. It's a very small place. This is the chair that the person who owns the business sits in, and this is the little kind of, what is that called? Is it a stool? Not really. Little, I don't know, seat. Backless seat. Little backless seat that people come and sit on. And this is the cards on the table, and they have a little fake owl and some bottles and some plants and things up on the wall. Lots of books and candles and things like that, and this little drawer where I guess they can keep things. And then this is their backpack, which they bring in and out of work every day. And some bottles and books and stuff. Very simple. There's that. And then here is just, I guess, like a game? I don't know. It's like a little game. People can come into this corner and play this game. And then you have another vending machine, and you have a recycling and trash sort of area. And then in here is kind of just like a general, like a convenience store. They have a vending machine and a dinky old fan. And this is the front desk. It's basically just a chair and a money, like a card reader machine thing that prints receipts. And this is where the owner of the shop sits all day, and that's basically it. He just sits here next to his little money machine thing. You can buy cans of food, you can buy some alcohol, so you can buy chips. You can get yourself a soft drink or a fast soda. And this mirror is here so that he can, from his seat, see people. So he can tell if they're stealing. He can kind of look and see if they're stealing his rusty old cans, God forbid. And it's a hot dog roller thing, and hot sandwiches and soups and stuff. And then this is a place where they have condiments. You see there's 2 little hot dogs out on the table, and this is buns, a bun warmer. And then this is a little TV that the guy who works here just sits in his shop, and I can't even get the right angle of it. He sits in his shop and just watches his TV all day, waiting for people to come buy hot dogs off the roller. This is that place. And then through here you go, and this is another seating area. It's a more enclosed seating area. It's not open. So it's got a roof over it, but it does still have a big window where you can kind of look out at the other seating area. And you can see someone at this table is having a soda, and someone here has left a cup. They did not read this recycling sign. And then this is a magic shop, a little corner store, because again, this is a magic world. The extensive Sims world with little cities and areas and stuff that I'm working on is still a magical world with like elves and fantasy creatures in it. So you might see something like a little magic shop right next to a corner store that sells hot dogs. So there's just a tiny on-the-go for your magic needs quickly. If you're like, oh man, while I'm out running my errands and going to this bar lounge, I really should pick up a potion for my magical doings. And so then you come here. An old bookshelf and some other things, and oh wait, this shouldn't be open. Alright. An old bookshelf and stuff and lots of other things, and just lots of book displays and some plants and things like that, and different types of potions. Mostly it's potions and stuff. Potions and very generic supplies. And they have these little kits of herbs and a little barrel in the corner. More books and more supplies and containers. And back here is the main behind the counter where the owner of the shop sits. And you can see they're just hanging out. They're reading a book. They have their special magic items and stuff there. And they have their payment things. Because it's not really a cash register, but, you know, like some sort of payment thing. And a little frog to keep them company, and a little sample of a frog. And they keep some of the more valuable items behind the counter. So these are more valuable things, like with crystal gems and stuff in them. And then this is the ultra valuable things, which are full-on magically enchanted swords, which they keep in a high shelf behind the main counter. It's really that. It's just a quick little magic shop you can stop in if you are on the go and you need something. And then that's the whole, so this is the whole everything. This is the whole upstairs part. The top part is just roofs. So to review, you have the weird little dump area and this whole section kind of behind all the places that has trash cans and stuff. You have the mailbox room for the apartments, a food cart, a weirdly laid out clothing shop, a weirdly laid out cafe, and the outdoor seating for said cafe, then you can go up the stairs. From those stairs, you can either go this way into a little seating area with a restaurant and an ice cream shop, or you can go this way into the lounge area for the same restaurant that's over here, bar and lounge area, or you can continue this way and go to a small cafe or a seafood restaurant, or you can just hang out on the balcony and buy something from the vending machine. And then you go up this little weird flight of stairs, and then you can go to this restaurant or a tarot card reader, or you can play a game here, or you can go into the store and buy some hot dogs, or you can go into the quick little magic shop and buy a potion, or you can just hang out in this seating area, or you can hang out in this seating area. That's the whole place, and this is the whole place at night. It's meant to be viewed at night. It's more of like a place that people come and hang out, you know, like, oh my god, it's 6 p.m. What am I gonna do? I can't just be a normal person and hang out in my house and, like, work on my hobbies. I gotta go do stuff. So, because of course, I'm a super hermit. I hate doing stuff. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to leave the house. I don't want to see things. I don't want to go to shops. Nightlife is non-existent to me. 7 p.m. I want to go to bed. I think some of the lighting in these places, like this place matches better at night. During the day, the lighting makes it not really match very well. This little window place or whatever. So this is the whole front part of things. This is the whole main. They are open during the day though, but I bet they're one of those places that like opens at 12 p.m. They don't even have people there in the morning. This is the whole upper section, and next I will do the lower section with all of the apartments. Okay, so I'm just gonna start on the first floor and go down. So you're here, you've showed up, here's your little underground apartments, and you can go in, and the way you enter is just these doors, which are kind of security locked. If I could do like a little pad that, you know, some people have like code, like they have to put in a code before they go somewhere. It'll be like a code on the door. I wish I had that. I do not. I have lots of cameras, but I don't have any custom content door code pads. So just pretend. Let's just both live the illusion. And you first come in. Now this place is supposed to be kind of like bleak, I guess. Like it's all, this is not called cardboard. I was gonna say cardboard. It's all like plain cement walls, very uniform looking. You know, it's owned by like a big company or something that's leasing out these apartments, and they kind of don't have, you kind of get the hint they don't really have much concern for their tenants. They're just kind of like, here's a giant cement box to live in. There you go. It's not our fault that you can't afford to live above ground, and by having these crappy little underground apartments, we are providing you a service, an affordable service. So anyway, pay your rent on time. Bye! And not everyone who lives here has no money. Some people use it as like a weird, like there's one of these apartments is somebody is renting it out for a science lab, and some people come and rent them out as hideouts, because they're weird little, they're like creepy little underground apartments, and most people don't even know they're here, let alone know much about them or actually go in, because you can't enter without a code. So it's a good place for other people who like, yeah, don't have the money for a normal apartment above ground and have to settle for these crappy little underground apartments, or people who are not having money problems but they want a secretive little secluded place to be. Everybody has their different reasons for being here, which you will see once I start going over the apartments. But anyway, so you go down these big stairs. Also, none of the stairs have railings, and I was thinking of adding them, but then I was like, no, they wouldn't put in railings. The people who own this apartment, like, part of your lease is if you get injured on the property, it's not our fault, so bye. So actually, no, the stairs don't have railings, and that's not me forgetting to put railings, they just don't have railings, because the people who built the place were like, it looks cooler that way. You know, I've seen that sometimes, and like, when you look at house hunter shows, there'll be a modern apartment, and it's like, there's no railing on the stairs. The stairs are just like little pegs sticking out from the wall with no railing. It's like, how do you expect anyone to, like, it'll be people with children looking for an apartment, and they'll be like, I think our kids would die on that, and it's like, I think adults would die on that. Like, I don't want to have to be that careful walking up the stairs every day. It does not look secure. You come down the stairs, and this is the whole place. There's different levels. There's, I guess, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4. I don't know why I could not just count that by looking at it without having to audibly count. There's 4 levels, and it's just the same uniforms. I mean, the way that I'm thinking about it is that the first 2 blocks outside of your door are yours to use. So you can have stuff up to here. Like this place, they could put stuff up to here. This place, they can put stuff up to here. 2 tiles outside of your door you can put stuff on, but then the rest of it you have to kind of leave clear. It's kind of cool to see the tree growing up and look down onto the courtyard. So it's kind of like an interesting place, but it's not very, like, nice. So here on the first floor, you have little benches for people to have a place to sit. Like if they're waiting on someone or something to come pick them up, they can leave their apartment and come wait here by the stairs on the first floor. And then just whenever the person comes pick them up, they walk up and go, "Hi, friend," and walk down the street or whatever. Since their friend can't come in because the door has, you know, a number lock or whatever on it. I guess I'll start here first and then just kind of go around the whole first floor. This apartment, very generic, not much to explain. Like I mentioned earlier, people can modify parts of the apartment. They can change the walls. They can change, you know, they can add furniture. They can do whatever, but they cannot modify the shape. So whatever shape the apartment was in is what it's going to be. And they cannot modify the front door or this light or the marker or the wall of the outside. They can put windows on the wall, but they can't like change they can't like turn this into brick or something. It's just the same concrete paneling or whatever. So these are the things that mark what apartment is which. It would say like apartment 405 or something. They have a generic mat and a generic plant and a generic apartment. It's like a very modern, boring, just like a black and white plain. They have a little, it's kind of a nicer apartment than some of them because they do have more space. A lot of people have their apartment cuts off like here. So I imagine a single guy, a boring and unimaginative person with a boring and unimaginative, like generic modern layout for his apartment. Got some cool, what are those fucking called? Mirrors. Yeah, they have some mirrors, a little TV and a fireplace and a couch kind of shoved up in there because they don't have a lot of space. And a very generic looking kitchen and generic brick walls. And this is kind of their closet. They don't have many things. Just a few shirts and stuff hanging. And a nightstand, which is blank intentionally because they're not about clutter. They just want everything, you know, when they sit down for the night, they'll put their cell phone here, and that's just about it. And they have a little desk to work at. And see, like I mentioned earlier, when you look out the windows, you can kind of almost for a moment believe that you're looking to the outside, even though, like, obviously you're not really. See, this is a mirrored wall, so it makes it look like it's bigger than it actually is. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, they have these fake outdoor sections so that even though they're underground apartments, people can still have windows. And the windows can still kind of lead to an outside-ish looking area, even if it's a false outside. It's still the illusion that you're looking out the window and seeing outside. So some apartments in this place do not even have windows. But the nicer ones will actually have windows to quote-unquote outside, even though it's not real outside. And then they have this generic little door and a very plain bathroom. That's just a plain bathroom. They have a little window in the bathroom, which they can actually kind of see into their neighbor's apartment through. But they would probably only be like this tall, so all it would bring to them is natural seeming light. And over here, you have the second little apartment. And this is just a tidy, I didn't really have any sort of aesthetic goals in mind, other than just a little cozy kind of place. They have their hat and coat and boots by the door. And they have a shower here and a toilet here, both covered up by curtains. And they got a little plunger. It's not a toilet without a little plunger. Their sink is outside because it's the same sink they would use for kitchen stuff, so it's more convenient to have it there. And they have these nice big windows to the fake outdoors. That's kind of cool. They can kind of sit here and just, you know, even though if you're able to look up, you can see. I would also imagine, though, here's again something I can't replicate in The Sims, but that I think would be the case. The ceilings of these fake outdoor places are also lined with LED panel, like screen panels, and they project a fake sky. So when this person looks up, they would not actually see a bunch of lights on a blank ceiling with a bunch of lights. They would probably see a fake projected night sky or daytime sky. In actuality, disregarding the fact that I can't actually make anything that looks like that in The Sims, the apartment actually does a pretty good job of approximating, you know, of having it where when people look out their windows, it's a realistic fake outside, but it's still fake. But here's their big, giant wall of pretty windows and their sink with a little cabinet and another little, you know, cabinet and some bathroom supplies and a heater. See, this is like coziness area. They have a little seat with cushions on it where they can use their computer, but then I feel like most of the time they probably just kind of sit. They got a little TV, they have a heater, they have a bunch of cozy rugs and pillows just kind of piled up on the floor, and books. So I imagine they would kind of just curl up here and take a nap sometimes. This is their main, like, living space. Which honestly, I used to do this. I used to live in a place where it snowed, and I would, like, walk home from school in the snow and then come and lay down in my little tiny room, and I would get a sleeping bag and lay it out on the floor as if it were a carpet or something, you know, for cushioning for the floor, and then I would get blankets off of my actual bed and wrap up in them and put a bunch of pillows around me, and I was right next to this little, it was like a radiator, but like a plug-in, right? Like an electric radiator, not a whatever radiators usually are. Because I lived in an old house before, and I know the radiators weren't like electric. I thought they were like gas or something. Or like hot water. I forget what radiators are supposed to be in like old houses, but I had a little electric radiator, and I would curl up next to that. And I would have like a bowl of soup while I watched stuff on my computer. This is a little cozy section, and you can see they have and they have their like desk with the coffee and stuff like that on it, and some pictures and stuff, and some plants. And then this is kind of this is like their kitchen sort of area. Now I will say, while I'm going over these, you should know ahead of time, everybody doesn't have to have a kitchen or even a bathroom in their apartment, because the apartment building, the so gracious apartment building owners who care so much about their tenants, have this public section. So any tenant of any of these apartments can, if they want to, come down all the way to the bottom floor, and they have a public kitchen that people can use with like a mediocrely stocked refrigerator. They have a few things, and they have a sink and 2 cooking stations, and then also a TV. So people can come down here and lounge if they want to. They can sit and watch TV. Like if they don't even have a TV in their apartment, they can come down here and they can watch the TV in here. And if they don't have a full kitchen in their apartment, they can come down here and cook on the public stoves, and they have 2 public bathrooms with a shower in them. If you don't even have a space for a shower in your tiny little cement box of an apartment, you can come down here and you can take a shower in the public apartment bathrooms. And they also have a little gym for anybody who, some apartments have gyms, I don't know. I was thinking it would be something that a place like this would have, to be like, look at all the amenities we're giving you. And they're like, yeah, but we only need the amenities because we don't even have space for a bathroom in our apartment. And they're like, shut up, we gave you a gym. Here's that. This is so as I'm going through some of these apartments, keep in mind, some of them don't even have like showers or something in them, but that is because theoretically the idea is that they would come down here and just, use the public showers if they need to. Like this person does not actually have a stove, but if they wanted to, they could go down to the public apartment kitchens and they could cook something in the stove, theoretically. Most people, I at least give them like a toilet, because I imagine like you can wait for a shower and you can wait to cook things with a stove, but like you're not going to want to get up in the middle of the night and walk down 4 flights of stairs just to go pee. Even the smallest apartments, I tried to, at bare minimum, give them some sort of toilet somewhere in their apartment. And again, these are spaces where the person pays for them, basically. They kind of rent them out like a house. It's just because, let me find a blank one. You would basically just get this blank space like this, and you can keep it like this if you want to, but you pay to kind of buy the space, so I guess it's kind of like a condo or something. You still have to pay rent every month, so it's like, I don't know, kind of like renting a house almost. And you can do whatever you want to the space. You can commission the space to look, get builders to be like, I want a toilet here, I want this here, whatever. Or you can choose from pre-designed plans, and once you buy the place, they'll put in like, you can choose, do you want a toilet, do you want this, blah, blah, blah. And if you're like, I want at least a toilet and a shower, but I don't need a kitchen, then they'll put a toilet and a shower somewhere in your apartment, and then it's like, okay, move in. So you're kind of, you do get to customize your space some, but anyway, so all they have is a little mini fridge and a microwave with a beautiful plant on top of it. Then here's the rest of their kitchen-ish kind of area. They have some plants back here and a wall of herbs and little tea boxes and some paper towels. A tiny little bookshelf with a plant next to it and bagels or whatever, donut things or something. And then this is like a big kind of closet area where I guess they would keep their clothes or household things like towels. And then they go around the back here through the kitchen-ish area to kind of climb up this, which is supposed to be a ladder, to get to their bed. So it's kind of a weird, it's a complicated, it's not right next to the bed. They kind of have to stand on this and jump over a little bit. And here's where their bed is, which is just a cute little, and I think this is a good view of the fake outdoors. I mean, you're sitting in your bed, you have your coffee and your bread roll or whatever this is, and you're looking out like, wow, outside. I wish there were beds with railings on the side though, because I always make these fake bunk beds, and it's like someone could literally roll right off of this. This is not safe. And so that's this. I don't even know. I didn't really have like. I really just wanted to make it look kind of cozy. I guess that's the only. Because some of these have very clear aesthetics. This apartment does not have a very clear aesthetic. It's just like, I don't know, comfortable-ish. And then you go to the next apartment. Now this is a weird situation. It's like a landlord inception. So the people who own this apartment building overall are renting this space to someone, and that same someone is then renting the space to more people. So it's like they've rented out the apartment so they can rent out the apartment to other renters. So the people who live here have a landlord, and that landlord also has a landlord, and that's so basically what happened here was some person rented out this space and decided to try and fit as many people into it as possible. So they have this is the opening place, which is called the courtyard, which is where the tenants of this apartment building can hang out. And it's supposed to look stupid. It looks weird with like uncanny lighting, because this cannot be portrayed in The Sims, but like these are all fake. This is like fake, dusty, cheap ivy, like what you would see in a restaurant. And this is fake brick paneling. It's not even real. And like fake astroturf grass and bad lighting and fake plants, because they wanted an outdoor space and a living space, and they were like, all right, but we have to shove as many people in this apartment as possible because there's like rows and rows of bunk beds. So they're like, how about the outdoor space and the living space are the same place, and this is where tenants of this apartment within an apartment can hang out, I guess, even though people don't really use it. So they have this weird mock outdoor / living room with a TV. It's supposed to look weird. A lot of these apartments are not actually very aesthetically pleasing. I'm more going, they're like conceptual. It's about the concept. It's not about them matching. Just take the mental trip with me to the concepts. Just imagine. It's not supposed to look good. It tells a story. It's not about appearances. It's about the lore, okay? So this is their crappy, weird, fake outdoor, fake living room sort of place. And then this is the opening to the place. And you come in, and this is a place for all of the tenants. I think there are 12 people who live here in this one little space. Because, see, these are all huge rows of bunk beds. Tenants of the tenant can leave all their stuff here by the front door if they want to. They have a little place, check yourself before you leave. You have some tissues, some loose change, a mirror. And this is something talking about probably some sort of rules of the place. Same with this. Because this is a building with multiple people renting it out, they have to have little rules up, like, okay, don't leave your, for the courtesy of your roommates, don't leave your shoes in front of the door, put them in the shoe thing, so there's rules. Someone's left their backpack here. There's a weird, narrow, that's what I don't get. Look how bright this wall is, and then how dark this one is. Like, that's not how light works, Sims. I don't think that would actually happen. I tried to put a light right here, and then it makes this wall glow like so bright. Now, they only have one bathroom, and that's because there are technically bathrooms downstairs, the public bathrooms. So the people who kind of put this place together were like, if someone really, really needs to pee in the middle of the night or something, or they have to take a shower, we'll give them one bathroom to split amongst all of the people in the house. But anybody else who needs it can just go downstairs. And same with the kitchen. They have one very, very small, kind of dinky little kitchen area. I mean, it's not dinky. It looks very nice. It's all very pastel and very bright and very fancy looking. But that's just them trying to compensate for the fact that it's not a great living situation. So, they have the most simplistic possible, the most basic possible kitchen, and if they need anything else, they can go downstairs and use the kitchen there. And then you come into the first row of bunk beds, and they look like this. I wish you could place columns. I really just wanted to use columns, but you can't, hold Alt and move them around. They're kind of fixed in place. And so I had to use these panel things. I don't know. It's like a custom content. I just needed a way to connect the beds. I guess I'll just start at the top bed. This person is a very plain, matter-of-fact person. Like, literally, they just have a little iPad portable computer thing, a little lamp, because everybody needs to have their own lamp, because people are going to bed at different times, waking up at different times, a folded thing of their shirts, and a slightly askew clock above their bed. And so basically every single person gets their bed and one little shelf, and that's kind of where all their belongings go. If you're renting out this apartment from the person who's renting out this apartment from the people who actually own the building, you basically just get your bed. They do have lockers that you can pay extra for. Bigger lockers cost the most, the small lockers cost a little bit less, and the free option is all you get is your bed and one little shelf above your bed. So basically you're not even like renting out a room, like this is your room. You're just staying in this tiny little section, that's your whole room. That's what this person has put on their bed and shelf. And then over here, this person, you see they've added a nice sheet to their bed, and they have, here's their toiletry stuff, because obviously you don't want to leave it in like a communal bathroom. You don't want other people using your shampoo. And a little set of knitting stuff, and some letters, and some like face cream or something, and books to read. They have a very quaint aesthetic. They have a little nightlight. And then this bed, which I can barely, it was hard to decorate these because I had to get in there like this. This person is kind of like here's someone who just kind of likes cute stuff, and I mean they're like an adult because they're renting out the apartment. They're not like, it's not a children's room, but they just are, I guess, you know those people that are really, like they're like in fandoms and stuff, and they're into movies and games and TV shows, and like that's like their whole hobbies. That's most of what they spend time doing is like watching things. So I was picturing that for someone like this. Like they just come in, they've rented this little tiny space, they have their media posters of shows and bands and stuff they like, and they've made their bed very cozy with lots of pillows. You see there's extra pillows here, extra pillows here, extra pillows here, and a stuffed animal, and a little rug shoved neatly under their bed, and some flowers and some stuffed animals, and then they have a coffee and some potato chips and their laptop, and they just kind of like sit on the bed and watch things all day with headphones on, of course, because, you know, there's people literally living 2 feet away from them. And I presume they probably have a locker rented out too. This is just someone who, like, they're probably like always home. Like all of these other roommates come and go, but they just like are sitting in their bed just watching stuff on their computer all day. And then the person below them, this sort of upper middle class woman who somehow went bankrupt and now has to resort to renting out a place like this, but she still thinks that she's better than everyone and is very bent on like having the nicest, like she paid extra because this is kind of considered the nicest bed. It's ground floor. Bottom bunk beds have a lot more wall space than the top bunk beds do, and you're right next to a huge window. You know, it's like you got the window, you have the bottom bunk, you're in the first room, which means you're closer to the kitchen and the bathroom. So she did use some of her savings to pay extra to make sure that she got the best bunk bed out of all the bunk beds. And I guarantee you she rents out probably 2 of these large lockers. So she has like this fancy little rug under there, and a fancy duvet, and fancy gold-lined, gold-embroidered pillows, and a vase, and this is her expensive iPad tablet thing, and some wine and a fancy food. So she just sits there. She's kind of like an older, richer version of this person. They just kind of sit around in their little bunk and watch things on their iPad all day and drink wine and think about how they used to be rich. And they have fancy paintings and a little nightlight, a fancy nightlight, of course. So those are the first 4 bunks of the apartment place. And here, this is like household things, I think, like towels and cleaning supplies, like stuff that in general anybody would use. And then one little seating area, one little public seating area, in case someone wants to sit down not on their bed. And they have one wall-length mirror that all of them can share. And then you go in this door, and here's a second room of apartments, and of course every single bed is decorated because, again, details. And they have some lockers in here. Oh yeah, and see these little ladders. I think you could reach, I mean, from the top of this you could get into this. They don't go all the way up. I wish I had ladders that do, but these don't resize right. So either they're this small or they're giant. So I kind of had to compromise and just be like, I guess if someone stood on this, they would be able to get, you know, I'm trying with my custom content to make something that looks like bunk beds. There's probably like a naturey person who likes art and stuff. They haven't really decorated their space very much. They just have one fancy little pillow and a fancy little tapestry and some paintings and a plant and a nice little personal lamp and a sack of something, like coins or something, I don't know. And then this person is, just generic, you know, they have a little calendar on their wall, they have a little mushroom lamp, plants, some toiletries, and a mirror for getting ready in the morning in their bed. And then this one is more of like a nature person, I guess, kind of quaint. Some sprigs of plants above their bed, and this tiny little floral lamp, and more toiletries, perfumes and stuff, and some books, and a little painting. I can't see the painting because of the glare. A little painting of sunflowers, and they have their shirts kind of piled up there, and they have one little extra blanket thing on their bed. And this person is a minimalist and matching. They have just a plain, I imagine this is one of those touch lights. Do you remember those lights that were circles and you could affix them to walls or something and you could just push them, and when you push them in the light comes on? This kind of looks like that. So it's like a little touch light above their bed, and they have one very simple, very neat looking extra blanket, and they have their laptop up there to do work on, and a backpack and some books, and that's all. They keep their shelf and space very minimal. And then for the downstairs, this person has dirty clothes under their bed. Why are these boots floating? Who told these boots they could float? Alright, well, I'm just gonna leave them. Pretend they're on the ground. We've got some dirty clothes shoved under their bed, and they have one little extra blanket, and they have some boots. They have their shoes sitting there. And they have, it's very simple. They have one calendar and one little nightlight, and they have a TV, a size-down TV, which is why the lights are out of place. They have a tiny little TV that they put on their shelf so they can watch things at night, and they have some tissues. Very plain, very basic. Maybe they rent out a locker and most of their personal belongings are there. And the person next to them is goth. It's a goth person. So they have a dark... It's kind of like modern-y goth, though. Like, not necessarily Victorian goth, but more just like, as long as things are black, you know? Because plaid, it's like black plaid and then like Vogue, black and white Vogue cutouts. Like, almost like hipster goth or something. A little black blanket. A black blanket and their backpack, and a scary spider, and a black thing of pencils, and some black and purple nail polish, and then they also got a coffee, and some skulls, and black and white things, and this old mirror thing that kind of looks like a window. And across from there, this person I think is probably like a journalist or something, staying here temporarily, or someone who works in a business or whatever, because they're very... It's almost like a little miniature office. They have like a poster board of all the things that they need, and this is just decorations. They just thought the keys were cool. They have a fancy little desk lamp, and some makeup, some coffee, lots of mail, and a journal they're writing in, and they have a little iPad thing for it. That's the best, that's the easiest thing I can get. I wish I could give them full computers. Computers won't just go on shelves, so I couldn't make it work. It'd be cool to have like a little bed tray with like computers sitting on it, like a full computer. I feel like that'd be more realistic. But anyway, and they have this blanket with a newspaper on it and some books, and then some more books and a briefcase, which I assume that, you know, like it seems like they're researching something. They're just in town temporarily in one of the cheapest place possible for them to do their work. They seem like they're working. Then this is the final bed, which is it's kind of like a plain space, I guess. They have their little toiletries and stuff down there for whenever they need them. And then they have some clothes hung up by their head, the edge of the bed area. I guess they just sleep right next to. And then they have this hung up and this hung up, and just a phone, a brush, some pencils and pens, and a regular lamp, and some folded... I'm gonna say these are clothes, even though I know they're towels. So it's like 12 people shoved into a tiny space, renting out small beds or whatever, and, you know, if they want to, they can go into the weird fake plant courtyard, but, so that's that whole the apartments within the apartments, that weird building. And then we go across the way, the other side of the first floor. Here's this apartment. I really love this apartment. I think it's because I used to live in an old broken down house. Like, most parts of it were not this broken down. There were some parts of it that were almost dilapidated. Most of it was not this broken down. Like, in real life, I would probably be scared to be in a place where the walls look like they're falling apart because I would be afraid of the roof collapsing on me or something. But, like, I don't know. I guess because I was around a lot of old houses when I was a kid, it's just kind of nostalgic to me. Like, environments like this are, like, homey and nostalgic. Even though they look kind of creepy, I don't know. Like, oh yeah, old houses and tattered things, ooh. Not that I would feel, I don't think anymore I would feel safe sleeping in a place with a giant hole in the wall, but, like, because when I was a kid, I wasn't processing things like that. I was just like, cool. And so now it's nostalgia. But so I really like this apartment. This, I imagine, is like, obviously, so the people rent out these spaces and then make them look like whatever they want. And so I don't think this person, like, rented out this nice, clean-looking place and was like, alright, let's bang holes in the walls and stuff. I think it was like, this used to be owned by someone else, and the person who used to own it for, maybe someone else lived in this place for like 20 years, and they really did not take care of it at all. And then this new person moves in, and they don't have the money to fix it up. So they're like, all I have is the base money to pay rent for this place. I can't add in anything. I can't do anything special. So they kind of just have to live in this crappy place because they're renting it after someone else had already rented it and kind of ruined it. They have a little radiator and a little rug, which I imagine in the winter they can kind of sit by the radiator. And this is a place where they can hang their clothes to dry their clothes. And this is the main media center where they have CDs and some bills and newspapers and books and a little bookshelf and some herbs in their backpack, things they brought home, and a hanging flowers and a little stereo and a tiny TV and some plants. And this probably has stuff in it too. Lots of suitcases everywhere because they're always in transit. And this is their kind of sort of kitchen section where they have this little, I think this hamper probably has clothes in it. But then this is like their work. They don't really have counter space, so they kind of just work on the floor. They have leeks and some things like that. And this is a one burner stove and a cardboard box with some gourds on it and a little pantry space where they keep some food. And this is kind of a nightstand for them, so they have some soup. They have drawings and magazine cutouts on the wall to kind of decorate the space a little better. And here's their little bed, and they have some stuff under the bed. They have like clothes and packages and notebooks and stuff shoved under there. And then above their bed they have a little shelf where they keep a box of books and more suitcases and a little plant. And then in here is the bathroom, which is just it's just a sink and a creepy old mirror and then a creepy old toilet, and that's it. I'm gonna try to speed things up because I realize it's been 40 minutes I've been recording only on the first floor, and I have 4 floors. This place, here's the outside. It's kind of quirky and sort of weird. They did install windows. So they have little windows to the outside where they can see the courtyard or whatever. And this, I was almost trying to go for like a mod kind of like, you know, that style or whatever, but then it gradually just turned into what the fuck ever. Did like a vintage kind of thing, but it went from like vintage to just weird. So it's almost cohesive, though, in the strangeness. It's almost cohesively weird. Like, everything is kind of mishmash, but almost in a way where you're like, yeah, I could see that being someone's house, but I don't know. Here's this person's apartment. They have their little... Here's the seating, dining, and main work area where they have their little laptop out with their coffee, and a little shelf, and a clown picture, and this thing to sit on, and a... whatever those are called. Gramophones? What are those called? That, and they have a little TV up, and then they have their weird, their bizarre looking kitchen with neon lights and a plant and a really patterned mini fridge and ugly orange and brown cabinets and a rainbow shelf and their collection of mugs. There's like a little alien there, and this is kind of they have flip-flop lights in the kitchen. And this is kind of their pantry sort of area. They have fruit and muffins and some canned soups, paper towels. And then they have a little air conditioner thing above here. And then here's where they sleep in a green and brown bed with flowers above them and a window above them. And some pop arty paintings and like vintage advertisements. Some hanging things. And then here's a hairdryer and a brush and a lamp. And lots of blankets strewn across the bed. And then their closet is just up here because they don't actually have room for a closet. And then in here, the bathroom is green and brown and orange and just bizarre looking, but it almost works in a way. Like, it doesn't work, but it fits together with itself. It matches itself. It doesn't match any human being's conceptualization of what a good space is, but it at least is internally consistent. I think that's what this apartment is. It's internally consistent, though bizarre. And then you go next door. Well, this apartment is, basically like a nature researcher person. They have a tiny little, it's the smallest ever little kitchenette sort of area. They don't have a shower, they just have a little toilet right here behind a curtain. And then they have a sink with a little thing of soap on the wall and a little jar next to the sink. And here's their mirror with, I guess you could open these and you could put pills or something in them, and hand towel. And then all they have is some beans, a coffee machine, and a mini fridge, and 2 little cabinets. And they do have this like fireplace kind of thing where they can heat stuff up. So they're making some soup and a kettle of tea, but that's all for the kitchen and bathroom type stuff. And this is their closet where they have boots and an umbrella sitting next to it and some plants. And they have like fish specimens and frogs and stuff kind of all over the whole room. And then for their main living area, they have a skull out on the table. They're like a biology researcher, so they just think the skull is cool. And a little thing, briefcase probably for their work, and some pencils, and a little teapot thing, and one place to sit. And then this is their bed, which is kind of like a cot. They couldn't like afford a real bed. They kind of just folded out a cot and put a blanket on it. And you see they have some towels and clothing and stuff and books stored under their bed, and a coffee and their phone and another coffee. A day's worth of coffees. Like, this is yesterday's coffee. This is this morning's coffee. This is last afternoon's tea. They have one more cabinet for storage and these nice little windows that look out to the fake outside. And they have some postcards and an actual TV. They can sit here and watch nature documentaries occasionally, and their little fish tank and their backpack, which they take outside every day. So that's their apartment, very small nature researcher, biologist type person apartment. I don't know what the theme of that one is really. Now this apartment is strange because the person bought the first floor apartment, and then also bought the one that is right underneath it, and then built a stairway between them. So they're actually the only person that has a technically 2-story apartment, even though really it's just they're renting out 2 apartments and they did construction to connect them. But yeah, I should view this place at night. Doesn't it look creepier at night? Like the combination of how blank all this is and the plain cement walls and stuff and the kind of dim lighting, it looks like a creepy little place at night. But anyway, it's kind of minimal. I mean, they do have this little bathroom with purple lighting in it. It's basically just a shower, a toilet with some modern art, and then this little place with a mirror and some toiletry things, and then a purple light above it. And they do have a window out to the fake outside, but it's mostly for aesthetics. They're not tall enough to actually see out of it. And they have this little kitchenette area, which I think these are the type of people who, they probably order in all the time, or they just go downstairs to the kitchen, to the communal kitchens to cook, so they don't really have much. They have like some plates. I imagine this is a mini fridge though, even though I couldn't actually fit a mini fridge there and make it make sense. This little cabinet is a mini fridge, so pretend it's a mini fridge. They mostly just have a sink and alcohol and a few random things. And then this is their couch kind of area, living, and see there's mirrors behind it to make it look even bigger. So it kind of makes like an illusion that the space is huge when it's not actually huge. Some plants, a coffee, their phone, and iPad and stuff, and more plants. And they have one little couch thing and then one little chair. Then here they have these fancy colored lights and a pool. They're the only person that has a pool in their tiny little rented space apartment. This is also a fireplace. I think in actual live mode, if you turn it on, like flames come up from it. They have a fireplace and a pool in their fancy little neon lighted apartment, and a big TV with a stereo system. So basically they can throw little parties in here with their friends. Everybody's like in the pool by the fireplace, watching things on TV, having alcohol and stuff. They can go down this mirrored staircase with neon lights. And this is their bedroom area, which they can watch people swim in the pool, not in like a weird way, but you know, they could like, they're sleeping in bed and their friend is swimming and their friend like bangs on the glass and is like, hey, what's up? And they're like, oh, yeah, my apartment's cool. This is their little downstairs section, which they really just have more neon lights, and they have a little workstation. I guess they're like a photographer or videographer or something, because they have different materials, some type of artisty, creative-y person or something. They have their closet, a fishbowl, some miscellaneous knickknacks and plants and sculptures and stuff, and their paneled wall of poolness, and then their bed, and then just some generic decorations. I don't know what this is. I couldn't think of what to put on the wall. They're too minimalist to have wall art. Like, they wouldn't have paintings up, so it's just like... So that's their upstairs and downstairs. And since we're already downstairs, let's start on the second floor. I'm recording for 52 minutes, just starting on the second floor. Now this is a blank space. I left some of these blank. You'll notice there are a few blank apartments because I just could not be bothered to do all of them. It would take way too long. I mean, I've done most of them. I think there are only 5 blank apartments, so I did still go do way too much that I needed to. This is just a blank apartment. Though if anybody ever did move in, they get a nice view of the fake outside. And in this apartment, we have to start with this one because this is like a modern... Another black, sleek, neon-y looking thing, except this has more fancy elements to it. Like, oh, there's gold. Oh, there's fanciness. So this is like a rich criminal person who uses this as their hideout. Because, of course, their hideout has to still look very nice. They have, like, a fancy bookshelf and a big TV and fancy paintings and, like, an elaborate, fancy-looking bed. And, you know, they're sitting in bed... doing work on their laptop, drinking a alcoholic beverage of unknown origin. I don't know what type of alcohols people drink. And then they have this little kind of kitchenette bar sort of area. There are also some, because they're rich, they probably just order in food all the time, so they don't really actually make food. This is some food that they've ordered in and a little flower decoration. And really all they have is a coffee maker and a place to store alcohol and like a thing of glasses. Then they have their a little sink and a mirror to complement their bathroom, which is very simple. It's just a neon light thing and a toilet and a shower. But then, again, this is their hideout. So you go through this fake bookshelf door, and then this is their real... They're like, I guess, a thief or something. So this is all the stuff that they've stolen. This is their, like, treasure storing room, where they have, like, the stolen ATM and... stolen paintings, miscellaneous gold bars, and things of money laying around. This is their, like, stash room. And you see they have the door. They bought both apartments. They purchased this apartment and just kind of built a door between them. And then they have it all barred off and closed off. They have decorations outside to make it look like someone lives there. Like, oh, look, someone lives in this apartment. They put nice little flowers outside when, like, really you can't even get through the door. Because on the other side is just a little office. This is like their criminal office. So they probably, because they're a rich criminal, they have an actual house somewhere else. But this is just their, like, you know, when they're working, when they're doing heists and stuff, they might come stay in their little apartment for a few days. Close to their stash, their office area. Like fancy criminals, weird little hideout apartment, and then this is their workspace. Place where they do all of their work from and make phone calls and, I don't know, hack rich people and steal their money or something. That's the apartments on that side. Now we'll do the ones on this side. Again, I'm trying to go fast, man. I don't have a lot of time. I've been standing up for so long. So this one, again, you can modify the outside. So they have modified the outside by, I mean, they still have the door that looks the same, and they still have the little apartment label thing up, but they put down this fake, like a faux roof thing, and a nice little window, and some plants and stuff. And this is kind of like a generic middle-class suburban household. Like a nice middle-aged woman lives here and is trying to replicate the way that she felt at home, but in a tiny little apartment. So it's very sleek and very clean and very, like, traditional or whatever. They have this little bathroom with just a plain sink and a plain mirror, and, I mean, you know, nothing special going on there. Then they have their kind of office space near the window. They have one of the bigger kitchens out of all these apartments, but their kitchen also takes up most of their apartment. So they have like a nice stove and, you know, for baking cookies for their grandchildren. And then this is kind of like an extension. It's almost like an island, but not really an island. It's just an additional workspace they can use. Then here's the dining room, which is not really a dining room. It's like there's a bookshelf boxed in kind of as a wall, and they hung a painting on the bookshelf to further pretend that it's a wall. And here's the living room, which has lots of beautiful natural lighting, looking out into the fake outdoors and the natural light from the fake outdoors. And they basically just said, see, look how bright this is. Like, why is it so bright? There's not even that many lights. So they have their little TV, a quaint sofa and a bookshelf, and tissues and a little coffee and a stool thing to put their feet on. And this is the person's bedroom, which is, again, I tried to keep it pretty simple. They just have a very simple... I wish there were better colors. They don't have, like, a white version of these. You can't make the wood white, so I couldn't really match it all the way. Just have a full body mirror, 2 plants, a little place to hang their clothes, a little tiny side table with a quaint lamp, and a dog calendar. And they can look out into the fake outdoors from their beautiful window, and a beautiful plain bed and a landscape scene. So it's very just like and this next place is just kind of bizarre. I don't really know. I think probably some sort of strange supernatural creature has rented this space out. There's no toilet, no bathroom, no kitchen, there's nothing. It's just a vent, and they cover up the door, and like an old bookshelf and an old wardrobe with a mirror on the front, and then everything else is just like this covered bed. So there are windows to the fake outdoors, but then it's just kind of like there's a curtain in a circle, a circular curtain around a bunch of cushions and bedding, and then on the outside of that there's a bunch of crystals and orbs and candles. So it's just this kind of like weird, like a nest. Like an elven mage nest where they light candles and just sit on their floor cushions and like hang out watching crystals be sparkly and writing in their magic notes all day or something. I don't know. Somebody's been eating some figs and drinking some wine out of a chalice, perhaps. So that, I don't know. This is like this is probably the weirdest room because I don't even know what I was planning with it. It's just somebody's nest. Here's somebody's nest. Somebody's renting that out for their nest. And then here is the next picture, like an old woman living here or something with a cat or two. You've got they actually have a full fridge. A lot of places only have mini fridges, but the compromise of that is that they don't really have much room for anything else. So they have a cheap little tiny stove, microwave thing below it with their cat bowl. So there's a little air conditioner and a calendar and stuff when you come in. And there's just, cabinets and some cooking things to cook with. Here's the bathroom, which has a little cat thing in it, and a small sink and a toilet and a shower, and that's really it. The litter box is in here. And then from beside the kitchen, you have a little seating area, kind of like a living room space. Now, they have big windows. This old woman has a really good view of the fake outside. Like, huge wall paneling, lots of nature. It's probably actually, like, out of all the places here, this is probably, like, one of the, I guess, nicest places to live in that perspective that you probably feel less like you're living in an underground apartment. The cramped space might make you feel like you're living in an underground apartment, but you do get a lot of faux natural light and lots of views of the fake plants and stuff. This is a little living room space. They have a TV and lots of plants and lots of also cat figurines and stuff. And here's their bed, which they kind of use as sort of a couch too, because they have the cushions leaned this way. And then a wall of like paintings and miscellaneous, cat succulents and a cat scratcher and bookshelf and a mirror. And this is a little table too, so they can put things up on the shelf if they need to. Most things are kind of neatly put away, though it's a little bit cluttered because it's an old woman. She doesn't have time. She can't clean everything. And then this person is technically breaking the rule about not having things more than 2 tiles out, because they technically have it almost 3.5 tiles out, but because the people who own the apartment don't really come to the apartments very much, they don't care, and nobody's found out yet. So they have this little kind of garden-y place up front with ivy growing up the windows and a big tree and stuff like that, and you go in. And this is like a vampire who has been, his giant mansion burned down, and he's also been shunned from the vampire community because of his crimes. So now he has to live in this tiny little cramped apartment and just try and make it feel like a mansion. It's some semblance of what things were like at home. So he has his little nest of a bed with the glass roof and the canopy, the curtains and stuff around it. This little side table with some books and lots of books, and really just lots of books, stacks of books, and an old piano because he couldn't fit his pipe organ, so he had to just use the old piano, God forbid, like a commoner. And here's his little seating area, some fancy plates and stuff, books, a dagger, a quill and ink, a little coffee table with scrolls, and a goblet of, we'll pretend that's blood, I think it's supposed to be wine, but let's say a goblet of blood on it. And his one of the only fancy paintings he could rescue from his ancient Victorian mansion before it burned down. He has 2 bookshelves with a little tiny fireplace in the middle with a skull on it, and some fireplace tools. Are they supposed to be silver? I think they fit better if they're gold. And then through this door, he has a tiny little kitchen, an old kitchen with a beautiful window that looks out to the fake outdoors. And it's just a stove and a mini fridge, and then, you know, some old bottles and a boar's head and a goblet of wine, and then some herbs and stuff. Just a generic kind of old looking kitchen. And then through this door, he has his old looking bathroom, his fancy bathroom, with a fancy golden toilet with gold on it. This should be gold too. Yes, fancy. Whoa, there. And a fancy little bathtub thing. And so that's his like mansion apartment. His tiny, tiny little space that he rented out that he's just trying to make it feel like home. And then to go down to the next floor, we have 2 blank apartments that I did not bother decorating. And then this space is, someone is basically renting it out to kind of use it as a science lab. So this is their kind of lab area. They have these things they're studying. I know it has a dog on it. It's supposed to just be like an LED screen sort of thing, but just pretend it's not a dog. Pretend it's something else. They have their specimens and little specimens in containers and what the hell is that called? A scale. And then they have this is their main like computer area, where they're drafting up plans, and they have a phone, they can call people, miscellaneous electronics and chemistry station stuff for analyzing information. TV, which I guess is like they can project anything on the screen, so they can watch normal TV, but they can also put up like notes and stuff there. And then their another little creature, and they have a weird satellite thing, I don't know, just things that look scientific. It's just like anything that looks scientific, I'll add it here. And then this is their very tiny personal space. So like a majority of this is all their lab. And then this is like where they sleep. So basically they have a couch and they sleep on the couch. They have a few blankets and 2 pillows on the couch. And they have 1 personal bookshelf. And then they have, you know, their phone and some food they're eating and a coffee. And like that's it. This is the extent of their personal belongings. They do have a little toilet tucked behind here and a mirror tucked behind here, but that's all. Everything else is all about their work, their science work. They do have a little window technically, but they have a screen panel with scientific looking data on it in front of there. And they do have, this cabinet is a cabinet for science materials and stuff. It's not a cabinet for personal things. And they have little beakers. They rented out the space and they were like, who cares about having a kitchen and a living room and real actual living space? I want to make it all a place where I can do my weird studies. So that's what they're doing. And then yet another blank apartment, thank God. Now this is a little apartment. This person is a private investigator who is here to track down, like, I don't know, some evil group of elves, I don't know, something like that. So they have a blind over their window covering it to have secrecy. They have their coat and stuff by the door and a bag and some boots and this little end table thing by the door with a mirror and a briefcase and a bunch of miscellaneous, you know, you come into the door and you set the mail down and stuff like that, and they have a suitcase of books. They have lots of suitcases because they're not really here permanently. They're just, they're like a traveling private investigator who's making this their research hub for maybe a year or 2, but they're not really, like, unpacking much, so that's why there's suitcases here, suitcases here, suitcases here. They're keeping most of their possessions they took with them in suitcases. And they have a little map to help them on their search, and this kind of daybed thing that's sort of like a couch and a bed combined. The shelf above their bed, and, you know, lots of books. A little place to sit, and a tiny little TV, and a place for them to dry their clothing, bookshelves. They have a sink right here and a toilet right here, and then cabinets above them, covered up by a curtain. And then they have a little, this is their whole kitchen, is this one counter with a little mini fridge and a few teas and miscellaneous things right here. And then they also have this fireplace thing where they can cook They can occasionally, they can put some stuff up here and it will warm it up a little bit. Though not really usually enough to cook on, but... So that is their place. The little secret private investigator's cove. And then over here, we're on the 3rd floor. Over here onto the other side of the 3rd floor. And this is just like generic cutesy, like... This person probably has a lot of money, but their parents were like, we can't support you forever. You need to get your own place. So we're going to give you a small loan of $500,000 and go to IKEA and buy an all-matching white furniture set and just, make up your place. We can afford to have a cohesive aesthetic because that's hard. I want to have a cohesive aesthetic. I wish all of my furniture matched and everything that I owned was like part of a clean set and looked super neat and prim and whatever. Cause like, I like aesthetics like this. I like modern white clean. I mean, I also like Victorian stuff, but I do kind of like modern white clean things. But like when you have never bought real furniture from a furniture store, everything I own comes from thrift stores or things that I found like at the dumpsters in my apartment building and thought was cool. And it's really hard to put together a matching, cohesive aesthetic when you're picking things up from so many random places. Every time I see, and maybe that's not the case, but every time that I see people where it's like their bookshelves and their drawers and their bed and their desk, they all match perfectly and they're all part of a set. Like, that to me seems like you probably had the money to go buy furniture then. But anyway, so this is like some cutesy blogger's little apartment or something that they live in. They have a pink and white checkered kitchen, just a mini fridge, no oven, because if they need to, they probably order stuff in, honestly. Have a little cloud lights and an air conditioner thing, and a kitchen, a sink with a mirror, and then this is their little, they have a TV with some lights, which they can watch TV from their bed or whatever. They have a nice big set of windows to the fake outdoors. Cute little guitar thing. And some plants, neon lights, decorative things, a cat succulent, a little iced coffee and a laptop. And here's their bed with pastel pillows and pastel stuffed animals. Very neat and clean, kind of just cute aesthetic. And here's their closet and a little bookshelf with some plants on it. And then behind the bookshelves, which are being used as a wall, they have a tiny little bathroom section with just a shower and a toilet behind fancy pastel curtains. With a few plants there just to make it look nicer. It's a strange collection of people who live here. A super rich criminal, a cutesy pastel blogger, a weird scientist researcher, an animal, the person who collects all the fish and puts them on their wall, a private investigator. And then these are some blank apartments, because again, I did not feel like doing all of them, but they do. This apartment actually, I kind of was wanting to furnish it just because I think the layout that it has already is cool. There's like double windows and then this tall window where you can see to the fake outdoors. And then this place, now this person runs a cafe out of their apartment. And so tenants who live here in this apartment building and are already here, they can like come by in the morning and like get their morning coffee here. They have a little place with seating and a mug and some nice bright flowers. And there's a light for at night, I guess. Yeah, see. At night it'll be lit better. They have a sign on the wall to tell people what it is and stuff. So this is like an old woman who runs this cafe place out of her apartment building. And also you can buy some magazines to help support her. Most people in this apartment complex like her will stop by, even if they're not going to drink a coffee, they'll stop by and like buy a coffee in the morning or a little sandwich, So you go into her apartment and you have this hallway. Now this is a very, very cluttered, eclectic, non-matching looking apartment. But again, it's not about whether it matches or looks good, it's about the concept. And I think this old woman would have an apartment that looks like this. I mean, look around your real house. Is everything perfectly color matched to each other? Probably not. They have a bunch of little paintings on the wall here, and they have a robe and more wall decoration. And this is the tiny little bathroom area. So it's just a toilet with a shelf of toiletries over it, then a little shower, and then a place with a towel and a mirror and some other toiletries things. And now this is her main room area. It's very, very scattered. I was thinking of like some old ladies' houses that I've been in that almost look like this. I mean, not as small of a space. It's like this, but on a bigger scale. So you have like miscellaneous paintings and a little place for clothes and some clutter, a bookshelf with some plants and plates on the wall and old books, lots of old books and old suitcases. And this is a bird. It's a bird cage with a little bird in it. So this is her pet bird that she has. Despite some of the cat figurines, she has a pet bird, not a pet cat. She has a little TV to watch up on a shelf on the wall whenever she wants to. When she's relaxing after, you know, she's retired, so she just runs the cafe for fun whenever she feels like it, but it's not like a big thing. You know, she doesn't have to like get up at 7 in the morning every day and start making coffees. She usually does, but some days she'll just flip the sign to closed and be like, sorry, I'm watching my stories. Come back later if you want coffee. There's a little side chair for her to sit in and the newspaper, and she's eating like a cheese plate. And a bunch of miscellaneous things on the wall. Then here's her bed. Nice and comfy with lots of pillows and a comforter. And she has a remote next to the bed and some books, miscellaneous little figurines, and some shelves up here, which she never really accesses. And of course a heater to keep her warm during the winter. And then a little shelf of knickknacks. And then this is the kitchen kind of place where she runs the cafe out of. Because see, this is the window. This is the order window where she fulfills cafe orders with a little coin holder thing and a card charger, whatever the hell. And it's a very narrow space. Because again, these apartments are very tiny. But she makes do. Here's a little place where she can sit when she wants to rest. Because she's been standing too long in the kitchen. And these are muffins and croissants and things like that. And she does not have an oven here. She bakes these downstairs in the communal kitchen the night before and then brings them up and they're ready in the morning to give to people. She just heats them up a little bit. Here's her hand-baked goods and miscellaneous kitchen things. And this is the little stove/microwave in case she needs to heat something up to give to people. And coffee machine and a tea machine and a quaint little fridge with pictures of her family and grandchildren and stuff on it, and a little sink. And that's her weird little extremely cluttered apartment. And the next one is no better. Now this is kind of like a weird artsy hipster place, I imagine. Like some art school student lives here or something like that. So this is their apartment. Again, a very bizarre aesthetic that's almost cohesive in how just unusual that it is. You come in and here's their little bed with some posters on their wall and a bookshelf, plants, and here's a backpack with books and some dirty clothes and paint cans and an easel and more painting stuff. And here's I guess they're like main dining table. If you need to sit down in the house, you sit down here with mismatched stool things and a little iPad and a coffee out on the table. And this is the other wall, which has a plant and a little TV on a tiny table and a place to dry paintings. Some candles, the sad clown, of course, a weird neon yellow closet, and a shelf with art and CDs on it. And then there is a shower, which is a pink shower with a neon green curtain, and a toilet with a little mirror behind it that has sticky notes all over it. And you can see they're not using their space effectively because they've made their apartment kind of ugly. With neon pink and neon yellow and bright red and all this stuff. But they do have kind of a good base of an apartment because they have nice windows. And they have some of their clothes hanging in the doorway because they just need extra space, I guess, and it's not big enough. And then they have a brown and white checkered kitchen with a purple light in it, which just gives it this weird lighting look, which it's pretty clean. It's very generic. They don't really have much in it except for a bowl of fruit and some utensils. And they do have a little, nice little window to the fake outdoors. That's like the hipstery art student, like look at this wall. They have like checkered rainbow wall paneling or something. That's their strange little apartment. Now finally it is time to go to the next floor, which is the final floor, finally, because I've been standing for a long time and talking for a long time. My throat hurts and my feet hurt. Sorry if my energy level plummets in the video. Like, I'm sure at first I was like, oh my god, and so this room is this, and blah, blah. Now I'm just like, look, it's a bed. Okay, next room. The sign says, hey, go down here. And so this is the bottom floor level. You see they have, details. Because they have this is open to the sky. If it rains, they have little vents. Or not vents, little drainage things. Because technically rain can get in here. So in case the rain the level of the water in here gets too high, they have little drainage stuff. So you come down from the stairs here, and this is kind of, you can go on this, these are rugs. I couldn't find any good stones to make a pathway out of. You have this little pathway, which this pathway leads you to the communal, I've already been over this, the communal bathrooms and kitchen and gym. And there's also advertisements and some, information, the things to tell the whole apartment building. And then you can also kind of go off, you can go this way if this is where your apartment is, of course. You can also go here and you can sit by the fountain, or you can sit at the picnic table, or you can play chess, or you can sit along this wall. They have some benches along this wall for people to come out and rest in, because they know that living underground, even with the faux plants in the fake plant rooms, is nothing like actually being in the outdoors. So this is their attempt to provide some outdoor space for tenants, because these are real plants, because they actually can get sunlight and grow and stuff, because they're open to the outside. All the other plants in the building, like in these spots, these are fake, but these are real. No fake LED screens, no mirrors to make the space look bigger, no fake astroturf or whatever. It's all real, baby. And if you looked up, you would be able to see the actual night sky or the daytime sky or whatever through the hole in the top of the place. And here's what it looks like at night. It does look a little suspicious at night. Something about the light, I think these lights on the walls, they make it look a little bit creepy. I don't know. This whole apartment complex place looks a little bit weird at night to me. I think it's just because it's so cold. It's just cement paneling with weird little wall lights dispersed kind of throughout. But anyway, we're on the last floor. This is a blank room. I did not put anything in this room. This one is a family of 5, I think, all living together in one space. Again, this doesn't look cohesive. It doesn't match colors because it's not supposed to. So you come in and here's a place to hang coats and hats and the children's backpacks. And this is like the main family hub. The table, they have a little wall TV and they have a shelf. This is kind of as close to a kitchen as they have. Luckily they live on the bottom floor. So whenever they need something from, they need to do kitchen stuff, they can just go straight to, they're very, very close. They just have to walk across the courtyard to go over here to like make dinner and stuff. But so they do not have room for an actual kitchen in here. They do have a bathroom just because when you have young kids, you probably need access to like a toilet and a shower and stuff. They don't have a kitchen. This is the closest thing to a kitchen. They have some pre-made breads they lay out and someone's working on the laptop at the table and some paper towels and a few little jars of non-perishable things. And this is what are those called? Baby seats? Forget what those are called. Toddler eatery? I don't think they're called toddler eateries. High chairs? Yeah, high chairs. They have a little high chair for their young kid. And this is the parents' bed. And this is the parents' closet, basically. Just these 2 things of hanging things. And a little side table. The only storage in the house, really, are these 2 little cabinets. And then here we have bed number 1, bed number 2, and bed number 3. Their toddler's bed is like on top of a thing of drawers or whatever, so this is where most of them keep their clothes, and this is where the toddler sleeps, and they have, their little night lighty little hanging thing, and one of the kids collects whatever the hell these are called. That's why there's a lot of them there. And here's their bedside table with some mail and a cell phone. And this little section on the floor is like where the toddler and kids can kind of play. They have a nice little rug and some pillows and some blocks and stuff. So like they can sit here and play with their blocks and look up at some children's TV show on the TV. So this is the top bunk, some award they got at school, generic kids things, and this is the bottom bunk. They have their own little, a string of lights and some shelves with their school books and stuff on it and things like that. And this is a closet. Again, it's like this closet and this closet are probably, they all share it. It's like, oh, this drawer is for Timmy and this drawer is for Jessica or whatever. And they do keep some things in suitcases just because it's space efficient, because they're cramming so many people into such a small space. It's convenient to keep things in like tubs and suitcases and stuff. So they do have a wall of shelves with various little suitcases and some folded clothes and stuffed animals for the kids, miscellaneous knickknacks and things they might use, cleaning supplies up on the top shelf. I don't know, this is where their sink is and where they get ready in the morning and stuff. So they have like a hair dryer and a brush and makeup and a little cabinet mirror and a sink, and then that leads into the bathroom, which has a child-friendly painting hung up, and shampoos and stuff, rubber duckies. Here's their clothes, and a toddler toilet, and a little shower, and a bathroom cabinet of toiletries and stuff like that. And you see they have this decoration strung across the roof, you know. It's a tiny space, and it's probably gets really cramped sometimes, but at least they can let the kids out to go, you know, they'll be like, go play in the courtyard, Timmy, or whatever. So they're not all totally cramped up inside all the time. The kids do go to school and stuff. The parents get some time alone at home at least. I just wanted to see if I could fit a whole family into a tiny space. So, I mean, I can. They do have to go across the courtyard to use the kitchen and stuff, but, you know, otherwise, it's a little place. This one is just a cat apartment. I don't really know. My whole thing was I just want as many cat things in here as possible, and the decorating scheme kind of came later, which I decided on based on the colors of a lot of these cat things, particularly the color of this cat bed. I just chose, you know, those kind of like chunky, bright, it's like they're bright colors, but they're not neon. They're like bright but pastel at the same time or something. So this is just, it's basically just a cat place. I really just wanted to have an apartment with lots of cat stuff in it. So this is the tiny little bathroom, which with a little fish thing, a toilet, shower, whatever. And that's covered up by this bright curtain. And then out from there you have the litter box and a little cat succulent and, you know, shelves. This is a place for someone to get ready in the morning. They have, or also keep their gardening supplies, I don't know. But they also have toiletries and a brush and stuff up here. And then here's a cat bed, which again looks out to the fake outdoors. It's very beautiful, very nice, good views. And then the cat bed is right next to the person's real bed, which has a cat pillow. And then they kind of use this as a side table for both of these spaces. So here's their like bedside table / general table place where they would put food and stuff. And this is the living room area. Bookshelf and a little container of things and a backpack, a comfortable chair and a coffee. I kind of ran out of things to put in here. You'll notice it's very barren. Like, there's nothing up here. Usually I would put a plant or something up there, but I couldn't find things that match the vibe. There aren't enough cat statues and stuff to put everywhere. Or, like, you could put something big here, but it would ruin the flow of things. I want something kind of small right there or whatever, you know. So anyway, it is left a little bit barren, but here's their TV and their little desk with a laptop and a book they're writing in. And over to the side, there's yet another cat tree and a cat scratching post and 3 cat bowls and some cat toys and a bright colored painting because I was basically just taking everything bright colored and putting it in here. And then a very, very small kitchen area with just a sink, fridge, and an oven. At least they actually have an oven and that fridge with some stuff on the front of it and a coffee maker. So that is the bright cat apartment sort of place. The final place is like, I don't even know how to describe it, like one of those dudes that just like their whole life is just eating pizza, watching hentai, and playing video games or something. Like, you know, that type of a super radical gamer pad. We're super delicious and super cool, bro. This is like the best place ever. This is like the coolest room I've ever been in. The empty pizza boxes are just aesthetic, okay? Wouldn't understand if you're not a gamer. Like, you just don't get it. You might say, why do you have rotting food all over your floor? And I would say, like, you're just not cultured enough to understand. You come in and this is the bathroom, which is just a toilet with, you know, a few little things behind it and a little shelf at the top. And then this is the kitchen area, which this person orders in food all the time, so they don't really actually have an oven or anything. They just have some cabinets and a sink. You see there's some glasses of stuff by the sink and a little toothbrush left on the sink. That's where they brush their teeth. There's cleaning supplies covered in cobwebs underneath there and glasses and pizza boxes. Now, I placed all of these items myself. This room took a long time to put. I put a mouse trap behind here. Every single can was placed by me. And there's a thing of probably very stale muffins and some chips and an old carton of milk and a half-eaten thing of pizza. Just miscellaneous stuff out on the counter. And these are packages that the person has gotten because they probably order stuff online a lot. They just kind of have left it by the door to get later. And they have another little cabinet with a mini fridge and a microwave and a pizza on top of the microwave and a can of soda on top of their bed. And you go this way and you see there's, some old chopsticks, some dirty plates, some stuff like that. And this is like a virtual reality, gaming place. And they also collect figurines. Mostly, of course I don't have any anime women figurines, so instead I just used these little tiny sim cartoon character things and also gnomes. So this is like their collection gallery wall with a few posters of things. And this poster probably says something like "Women belong in the kitchen" or some misogynist thing or whatever. There's all this stuff on the floor, lots of little things. You see even under here, there's papers, stains, little cups. There's Coke cans and alcohol and potato chips and a little USB drive. I didn't even know they had this in The Sims. A little USB drive. It's in the, I think, live edit mode objects stuff. And they have a computer with 3 different screens, and even behind here they have some figurines and some old cans of beer and stuff they forgot about. More figurines, and of course they have a giant TV with a whole speaker thing, and headphones and a half-eaten hot dog, and more stuff, lots of little stuff. More figurines of women, of course. And actually some posters of women, finally. Something more realistic. Some old clothes on the floor with lots of cans and a whole stack. Now this I had to make myself, so of course these are floating. But a stack of old pizza boxes with some cans and glasses and stuff sat on top of it. And then here's the bed. And they have this would be a plushie, even though obviously you can't really do that. It would be like a plushie figurine of an anime person or something. And here's their closet, which consists of 3 jackets and a few boxes and even more figurines from animes and stuff. And next to their bed they have an old pot of coffee and old cans and more drinks and stuff. And they have a lighter, which again is floating, and a cell phone and a half-eaten grilled cheese sandwich. This is the ultimate gamer pad apartment room, which has way too much detail put into it, actually. Just but it looks like a realistic space someone could live in. I mean, I hope nobody lives in a place like this, just because they probably have a lot of roaches and stuff if they live in a place that looks like this. But I think even most guys like this are probably more tidy than this. I think if you're this messy, you probably need some genuine help or something and are not just a little bit lazy. But so there's that room, and that's the final apartment. The courtyards, all that, blah blah blah. So now I will go over everything from bottom to top of the apartments just to finalize things. So here on the 4th floor we have the general courtyard, the communal bathrooms, communal kitchen, and gym that's open to everyone. We have the ultimate gamer pad, the weird kind of chunky bright color cat room, the room where there's a whole family living in one small space, and a blank room. And then we go up to the 3rd floor, and we have the strange hipster art student room, the old lady's very cluttered home that she's running a cafe out of, a blank room, the cutesy IKEA furniture blogger room of a private investigator, just using this as a temporary place to stay, a blank room, a weird science lab / apartment room, and 2 more blank rooms. And then we go up to, we have the quaint, generic, middle-class house-styled apartment that a middle-aged woman lives in, the strange elf nest that is indescribable, quaint old lady's apartment who lives with cats, the shamed and rejected vampire who lost his mansion now has to live in a tiny little apartment, rich criminal lair, and then also the rich criminal stash fake apartment, a blank room, the downstairs of the weird modern nightclub looking apartment, the upstairs of the weird modern nightclub looking apartment, the person who collects a bunch of bugs and frogs and fish and stuff, nature researcher, biologist type apartment, whatever the hell this apartment was. I don't know, failed, ugly, vintage type of place. Old, kind of falling apart, rustic looking apartment. Then you have this weird thing that's the fake courtyard, and this whole place where a bunch of people live in bunk beds. And then you have this kind of cozy apartment, and then you have this boring, very modern apartment. And then you go upstairs, and that's the whole place. So that's... Gosh, that took a long time. This video is probably going to be 4 hours long. I don't know. I mean, what am I supposed to do? I don't see any way that I could not have it take that long. You know what I mean? Like, it's only taking that long because there's so much stuff to go over. There's not a house. It's like 30 different individual little places that you have to go one by one. Like, this is a cafe. This is this. This is this. You know, like, it's... I feel like it only took so long because there's so much to go over. I don't know how I could abbreviate it, other than doing it like, okay, and then you go up these stairs, and then you see this is a place, and then you see this is a place, and then you see this is a place, but like, that doesn't give enough detail, you know what I mean? Which maybe sometimes I give too much detail, but anyway, yeah, so that's this place. And I really had goals of doing every single apartment. I really wanted to go in, maybe one day I will go in and fill the blank ones, because sometimes when I get an idea, like, oh, it would be cool, like, this one, I was thinking it'd be cool to have an apartment that's 2 stories with a pool in it. So maybe if I ever get more ideas, like, it would be cool to have an apartment that's this theme, it'd be cool to have an apartment that's this theme, then I would go and fill in some of these blank apartments with different themes or whatever, but for now, I just couldn't, I had to, like, cut myself off. I was like, this is taking too long. I'm never going to actually finish this and make a video about it if I keep waiting to fill all these unfinished rooms. So I just decided these are rooms people haven't rented out yet. 28 apartments. Some of them are not filled. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of which are not filled, so I've done 21 of them. I mean, that's not terrible. Not including there's so many shops up here, whatever. The next place I work on will probably be, I think at some point at the end of one of my other videos, I showed progress of this like underground crystal cave place, and I probably want to do something. I've done enough public places. I've done lots of restaurant, you know, I did this hotel and this little corner store, and I was working on this diner and public pool and all these other things. So I think I want to do some sort of private, smaller place next time. Maybe just a house or something. This whole town that I'm modifying has a bunch of different lots where I have stuff like half done. So I might go back and work on one of them that's kind of smaller. So goodbye, that's the video. Thanks for watching if you've watched all 4 hours.